Wendy, good morning. How are you doing?
My husband and I have children from previous relationships.
Okay.
And a little over a year ago, he had an affair with one of our children's moms. So I'm wondering kind of what are appropriate boundaries and how we kind of move forward from there.
Ooh, there's a lot on that one, man. So walk me through just some of the complexities. How long have you and your current husband been married?
June will be 5 years.
5 years, okay. And then how many kids did he bring to this partnership?
2 from 2 separate relationships.
Okay. So you were relationship number 3?
Yes.
Okay. Do y'all have any kids together?
1.
Okay. So he brought in 2 kids. Y'all made 1. And then how many kids did you bring?
1.
Okay. From one other relationship?
Yes.
All right. So you have 4 kids total. 1 you brought in, 1 together, and then 2 he brought in from 2 different people. Okay. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different adults navigating this relationship together, right?
Right. Plus, my daughter's dad is married, so we co-parent well with her stepmom.
Sweet.
So we have an additional parent.
Okay, all right. So I don't know if you've ever sat down and just mapped this out like I'm doing right here. Just to start this call, it's a lot, right?
It's a family forest. We don't have a family tree.
Yes, you've got a family forest here. So give me a sense of your demeanor. Are you somebody that laughs a lot through life? Are you somebody that holds to control tightly? Like, tell me who you are.
Oh, man. I am a control freak at its finest.
All right.
I am very wound up 90% of the time, so I like things to be stable and to go typically in the direction that I have planned for it to go. So sometimes things get a little out of whack. I get anxious about it.
So just taking a stab at this, you spend a lot of your time anxious. Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And you, after a series of seasons being highly anxious, there's just seasons when you want to lay in bed and not get out of bed and just watch Netflix. Is that fair?
That's accurate.
Okay. So tell me about this guy that you married.
He's the total opposite. He is very laid back, go with the flow. He doesn't get... He's never really shown a temper about anything. You know, something starts to bother him, it has to be something pretty serious. He's a detective, so a lot goes on at work, and then I think when he comes home, he doesn't really want to deal with a lot at home too.
Right. So he's a police detective.
He is.
Okay. So my dad was one. So I grew up in a house with the detective. So they're very unique, extraordinary yet unique individuals, right? So I got you on that. So he, a couple years into your marriage, was it right when you were having a baby or right around that season?
No, it was after.
Okay.
It was probably she's a little over 1.5.
Okay. I'll call her a newborn until she's about 3 before your life becomes any semblance of normal again. Okay. And folks with 3-year-olds right now are like, they're not normal. Fair enough. So then he goes back to visit baby mama of 1 or 2 or 3, of which he's got 3 now. And they end up hooking up. Do they just have a one-night stand, or they have rekindled their relationship? Walk me through what happened.
From what I understand,
hey, talk directly into the phone, okay?
Sorry.
There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, we were kind of at a little bit of a rough patch in our marriage. I was really anxious about the situations that we were going through, just with his work and then with having to co-parent with all of these people. So I went out of town for an interview, and while I was gone, he basically he confided in her, told her lots of things that I had told him out of safety, you know, not really expecting any of that to ever come out. And then he told her, and then that led to an encounter just one time. And then when I came back home, probably that following week, he told me everything that happened. So he didn't try to keep it a secret, but that's kind of where we
Was he remorseful and upset, or did he just say, hey, by the way?
No, he was remorseful. He's tried really hard to move past this and work on our marriage and reassure me this is not going to happen again.
Sure. And so that was a year ago, and you stayed with him. So tell me what surfaced recently that's making you wonder, how do we move on? How do I reconcile this and keep going?
Well, he's pretty adamant that I have to make a decision. He wants things to be resolved between me and his child's mother, and I'm a firm no.
Okay.
She's not been remorseful about it, and as soon as she found out that I knew, it was, well, I need to tell her my side of the story. It was never, I'm sorry this happened, this was a mistake, and it's been a total not take responsibility at all.
Okay.
And that's just, to me, I don't want to deal with it. Like, I'm going to therapy, working on me, and if you're not making positive steps to work on you, there's no benefit in this. But I think his biggest fear is that the child's going to recognize that there is an issue there, because I don't have any interaction with her whatsoever, but I also don't feel like I have to.
Okay.
He has a dad that takes care of him and a mom, and when he's with us, I love him so much. I take care of him. I don't allow my feelings for her to impact how I love him, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And so what is the picture of this mythical relationship your husband envisions that you and one of the other baby mamas has? Does he want you all to hang out and go get margaritas together? Well, I mean, what does he picture?
I think we talked about this Friday again. It was basically, you at least need to acknowledge one another's existence when you're around one another. And, you know, but prior to this happening, we had a good relationship. You know, we would go do things with the kids, all of us. I mean, we did birthday parties together. We were unusual in that we could get along in a healthy way. But then after that happened, it was kind of like, well, I trusted you. You broke this trust, not just in a little way, like this was my marriage.
Right.
And you're not remorseful. So I don't know. I want to be okay in that, hey, but that's it. Like, I don't want a friendship, and I think he wants the friendship to be there so that there's not that awkward tension that is obviously there.
Sure. So, man, I'm just going to speak directly from my heart. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. So, number one, you married a guy that has gotten 3 different women pregnant and had 3 different kids by 3 different moms. Okay?
Right.
So, there should be no surprise as to what you got tangled up in. Is that fair?
Right. Yeah.
Now, we all want us to believe that we're going to be the one that helps change somebody. We all want to be that person that I'm going to be so desirable, I'm going to be so loving that this isn't going to fill in the blank. And it did. It happened to you. That sucks, right? That doesn't give him an excuse to cheat on you. It doesn't give him an excuse to go disclose intimate things to somebody. The hard part here is that he's had an intimate relationship with 3 different people, right? He's grown humans with 3 different people. That's intimate moments. And so what you guys need to do is have a boundaries conversation, if you haven't already, and not a fight, not a war, but here's the things that I want to be ours in this relationship. And normally that's things like kids and home and not other women. That's not going to be your relationship, because you're going to have to share your home with other people's kids. You're going to have to share your home with other women. And what I mean by other women is there's going to be other women coming to your house to pick up kids. You're going to have to drop kids off. That's just going to be the nature of this. And as they get older and you're navigating basketball games and YMCA stuff, it's just going to be more and more and more, right? That's the path you chose when you married this guy. Doesn't mean that it's not the right path. I'm just telling you it's going to be more complex. And that leads me to part 2 here is, yeah, he violated your marriage covenant. He did. And that other lady violated your marriage covenant. She did. And you chose to stay. And you chose to continue to raise this baby, this kid, when your husband's got custody, which is part of being married to him, right? And so that means you're going to have to interact with her. Does that mean you got to be friends? No. Does that mean you're going to call her the next one time something great happens? No. But I do think that means you're deciding to opt into a life where you've got to be a civil adult. And your husband's right. Your kids are going to learn how you interact with people that you are frustrated with or disagree with. They're going to learn that by watching you. They don't have to know that, hey, Dad re-hooked up with baby mama again. You know what I mean? And that doesn't mean you have to be okay with that. What happened was wrong. It's not cool. It was a violation of everything about your marriage. What I don't want to see happen is you stay, you forgive him. He's working his butt off to be right. He is trying to change. He's working hard. And 1 year, 2 years, 3 years later, you continue to hang this over with him, right? Because then at some point it becomes your challenge. Either cut bait or be all back in. But you can't be all in sort of with 1 foot and a couple of toes. And that means being all in with this guy means you're going to have to interact with her. If you ever sat down with her and just said, hey, let's just talk, what would that conversation be like?
That's what he wants. But
why won't you sit down with her and say, hey, look, we have at least 15 years left of interacting with each other at a minimum. And you're going to be sitting on one side of my husband and I'm going to be sitting on the other side at this kid's graduation. We're going to go to the same wedding. Like, we're in it now. What the hell? Like, why in the world would you hook up with my husband? Like, what keeps that conversation from happening? Is it just because she didn't run to you and say, I'm so sorry?
No. I mean, it's just the pain that comes with that.
Yeah.
I have such a serious complex with abandonment and rejection that I work with. And she speaks to those things because she's angry at me too. Like, it's a constant attack on me as a person. And the idea of sitting down with someone and hearing those things it hurts. I don't want to do that.
I got you.
I'm honest.
No, that's brave that you're saying that out loud, and I appreciate that. So here's a hard thing I'm going to tell you. I'm going to try to do it gently, okay? Moving forward with that pain that you have and not addressing it for the next 15 years is going to be really hard. Really hard. It's going to be heavy. You can navigate it because you're tough, and you can navigate it because I think your husband loves his kids, but it's going to be really hard. And sitting down and having a 1 or 2 time hard conversation is going to be really hard. One of those leads to healing much, much sooner. One of those leads to putting those bricks down much, much sooner. And if you think about it from her eyes, you may be the woman that he left her for, right?
Yeah.
So you may be both having the exact same feelings about each other, about this one dude, right? And there can be some common ground empathy there. Is it going to feel good? No. I'm just trying to wrap my head and be in your situation. Dude, you know what I mean? I can't even fathom it. But I'm trying to put myself in a situation where I can look down 5 years, 10 years, 15 years down the road and say, this only ends in a train wreck. This just doesn't get better. It just festers. And then at some point, the kid turns 12 or 15 and starts asking questions. And then there's just poison in the water. Or I can bite down on my mouthpiece. This is a fighting reference. I can bite down on my mouthpiece and I can just wait in there. And I can call her and say, I'm tired of hurting. And I think you start that conversation with, I have a fear of abandonment and rejection. And this was really hard on me. This is a year ago. This is not getting better. It's just getting worse. And we've got to be grown-ups and solve this for the sake of our babies. We got to solve this for the sake of moving on. And I just don't see a way around that, Wendy. I don't see a way that you move forward with any sort of peace in your life and any sort of peace in your marriage, any sort of wellness in your life, that just the constant cycle of inflammation is going to make you sicker. It's going to make your body break down over time. All this is going to just continue to happen because you've got this heat in your life that's not going to go away. And I know you don't want to have that conversation. I cannot see a way forward, a path towards healing without that conversation. I don't think it's going to be easy. It might be, actually. And it might be a moment where y'all end up weeping hard and getting frustrated at each other and crying and hugging and then agreeing to be adults. And even if one of you has the courage to say, we're not going to be best friends, let's just say that, but we've got to do this for the sake of these kids, I think there could be a lot of healing there. Can that happen? I don't know, man. That takes two super mature people. That's the hope. And here's the thing. I'm hoping for that, Wendy. I'm hoping that our country can do that. I'm hoping that people on both sides of political aisles can sit down and say, you have hurt me in ways. You do things on a regular basis. You have a view of family. You have a view of money. You have a view of fill in the blank that I think hurts me. But man, not addressing this, not being adults, not being real and not being honest and just yelling and fighting and avoiding is just going to kick this and kick this and kick this. And we're going to teach our kids how to do it. And we're going to teach their kids how to do it until the whole thing falls over. Or we can reach out with that first text message, Wendy, to this woman and say, it's been a year. This is going to be a hard conversation, but I'd love just you and me to go have brunch one morning. And I'm going to be an adult, and I hope you will too. And I know it's going to be a heavy conversation, but for the sake of our kids, can we just get together and meet and talk? And that's my challenge to you, Wendy. It's not going to be easy, I know. If you have that conversation, my gut tells me it's going to be a tough, brave, healing conversation. And I'd love, love, love for you to call me back and let me know how it goes. And you are not seeking validation. You are not seeking her forgiveness. You are not seeking her apology. You are seeking peace. And you can know I went first, I went forward, and I heard out, I listened, I paid for the meal, and then we moved on. So thank you so much for your call, Wendy. Please let me know how that conversation goes. And I hope you will continue to be brave and have that conversation. And tell your husband, come on, man, stop. 3 kids, 3 different moms, stop. Okay? Every detective out there needs to have a therapist in their life because the job is hard. Y'all get to see things. You interact with people in ugly and hard ways. You deal with trauma all day long. You got to have somebody in your life that's helping you heal. And I know y'all are smart, and I know y'all are trained to walk into rooms and see things that nobody else does, and you have to experience things that nobody else does. I know that because I lived with it. That doesn't mean you're immune to being a person. Go get the help you need. Get the help you need.